Any motion of urgent public importance? Is that Honorable Abejide? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I rise under Order 804. My name is Honorable Leke Abejide. I represent the good people of Yagbafera constituency. I am from Kogi State. I rise under Order 804, and I want to create the indulgence of the House to allow me to add the second leg, that's to suspend all our rules to enable me move this motion on the urgent need to invite the INEC chairman to brief the House on the actual cost of direct primary, so that all the insinuations that are going around can be clear to the whole nation.
To brief the House or the committee?
To brief
the committee
on INEC and that of appropriation, because now that we are considering the appropriation that is still within the National Assembly for possible consideration for whatever is going to cost for this direct primary.
Okay, thank you. Any seconder? JJ. Sorry, what's your name?
I am Olajide. I represent the motion as moved by Honorable Abejide. One, that under Rule 8.4 and Rule 8.7, that it should be suspended for us to take the motion as moved by him. Thank you. I so move.
Okay, yes. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Leke Abejide. I represent the good people of Yagbafera constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, where they will be able to select or elect the people that will represent them, either from the presidency down to the councillor. And there have been a lot of noise about the cost implication. People have been saying that it will go up 500 billion. But this is just mere say. Nobody has ever sat down to check the actual cost it's going to cost the nation. It may be something that is within the capacity of the budget of INEC, or something that we can even appropriate for in this period that we are doing, considering this budget. Okay. So it, in this allo chamber, and that of appropriation, for him to be able to tell them what is going to cost to do this.
We'll assume that you moved the motion, because you went straight into debate, but we'll just assume that you moved the motion, and we'll get a seconder. Any seconder? Honorable Ododo.
I remain Olododo Abdulgani Shaka, speaking for the people of Plenary East in the South Federal constituency. I'm from State of Abu Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion February, my friend, my brother, Olufileke, Abekide.
All right. Amendment? Because I think it's a straightforward motion. Honorable Idem, what's your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Idem Unyiman, member representing Bukanafun, Orowanam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is to include the Conference Committee on Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021. They need to be part of that.
The conference committee?
Yes.
The conference committee is discharged of its responsibility. They were just to go to conference and agree on a report which they've done, and they're now functions officials. They're out. So it goes back to the standing committee, INEC, and the committee that is now responsible for appropriation at this time of appropriation, for possible, like he said, consideration. So we'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Oh, sorry. What amendment? I thought it was straightforward. We all agreed it was straightforward. Now, what are we debating? You passed a law in this chambers, and it was straightforward. So let's do what we need to do. Let's move on. Now, any other, we're not going to revisit the law we passed there. Any other motion of urgent public importance, please? So we move on. So I saw Honorable the INEC chairman so that he can give you the possible cost implications. Honorable members, the business of the day is presentation of 4 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill 2021, first reading. Forensic Science University of Nigeria, Erin Ile, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2021, first reading. Widowhood Leave Bill 2021, first reading. Federal Road Safety Commission Act Amendment Bill 2021, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the House passed a motion yesterday unanimously for the investigation of the assets and liabilities of NNPC before transferring to NNPC Limited. The committee comprises of chairman will be Honorable Uju Kingsley, Honorable Faleke, Honorable Nalaraba, Honorable Abonta, Honorable Oyewo, Honorable Dati Yako, Engineer Johnson, Honorable Kani Fago, the mover of the motion, Ibrahim Isiaka, Honorable Dahosa Dennis, Honorable Fulata Hassan, Honorable Joseph Ajuku, Kogi State, Amos Magaji, Sansi Salisu, Honorable Dennis Amadi, Badamosi Ayuba, Ezenwa Okudili, Honorable Wale Oke, and Honorable Olatubosun Olajide. First order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital, Yola. And for related matters, standing in the name of House Leader, honorable members will recall that the bill was transmitted from the Senate, seeking concurrence of the House and read the first time on Wednesday, 9th June 2021. I now invite the Leader of the House that the bill be read a second time.
Sorry. You can move on. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I'm sorry. I think I might have missed out. I'm not sure if I missed out two names in that list. There's Honorable Boluga, Ikemboju, and Honorable Chidoka. Honorable Chidoka and Honorable Boluga. I'm not sure but I'll get the list across to you. Yes, sorry, Chair, Leader.
Jikake magana da shi. Bye.
Yes, Leader.
Business and rules. Where were you?
Oh, So I was going to.
Yes.
He said I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Perhaps he's absent-minded.
Yes.
And very unusually for someone that has only one wife and is being absent-minded on the floor.
Leader, continue.
You know, it's expected. If you have one wife, you have one trouble. Two wives, two trouble. If you have three wives, three troubles. Someone who has four wives will definitely have four troubles. So for somebody like Fulata, who has only one wife, lone wife, I wonder why he's absent-minded on the floor.
Yeah, other issues. He has other issues.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, Dodogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Honorable members, I am from Kano State. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise as directed to move that a bill for an act to establish Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital, Yola, and for related matters, HB 1399, which is a Senate bill, be taken for the second time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, I'm Comrade Peter Ovionzujira, practicing MNI. I represent the great people of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion as ably moved by the Leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Leader, can we just put the question?
Yes, I think it's a straightforward
Okay.
bill.
Is there anybody that wants to speak against this concurrence bill? Nobody? Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital, Yola, and for related matters. Second reading.
The second order of the day, is referred to the Committee of the Whole. Second order of the day is commencement of debate of the general purpose of a bill for an act to establish the Construction Materials Standardization Agency to standardize and control the use of materials for the construction industry in Nigeria and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Gideon Gwani. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 9th November 2021, and I invite Honorable Gwani to move that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Gwani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Gideon Gwani. I come from Kaduna State and I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I move that a bill for an act to establish the Construction Materials Standardization Agency and to standardize the control of use of materials for the construction industry in Nigeria and related matters, HB 1705. I so move.
Honorable Idem, you want a second?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun, Rogonam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as raised by my leader. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Gideon. Please lead the debate for a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Once again, my name is Honorable Gideon Goni. I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. I come from Kaduna State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill seeks to establish the Construction Material Standardization Agency, which will be saddled with the responsibility to regulate and control the use of sustainable standard construction materials in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, this bill seeks to reduce the threat of building collapse in Nigeria. You will recall that cases of building collapse have been recorded, most especially of recent, the 21-story building that collapsed in Ikoyi, Lagos State, and so many areas of this part of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, researchers have made studies in the past. For me, as a person, I took interest in the reasons why buildings are collapsing frequently in Nigeria. So I went in to look at some of the researches of some of our professors in the country. Renowned researchers like Zanzan Uji in 2015 of his own research work, reports of Alu of 2015, of 2019, Alu and Emueze, and so many other research work that I looked into. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, they also recorded in their research work that why buildings are collapsing, there are so many reasons. But some of these reasons, I'll just enumerate a few of them, starting from the design of the infrastructure. If the design of the infrastructure is faulty, it can cause building collapse. The use of poor or substandard construction materials can lead to collapse of buildings. Hasty construction work can also lead to collapse of buildings. Structural defects can lead to collapse of buildings. The use of unqualified professionals can lead to collapse of buildings. Overloading of structures that are designed not to carry can lead to collapse of buildings. Obtaining illegal approvals of buildings or structures can lead to collapse of buildings. Illegal conversion of land use property can lead to collapse of buildings. Heavy downpour of rain can lead to collapse of buildings. Lack of proper drainage systems can lead to collapse of buildings. In some cases, the geotechnical investigations have shown that if you don't have that report, it can lead to collapse of buildings. Now, Mr. Speaker, that the most problematic cause is the use of substandard materials. Construction materials are some of the major reasons why buildings collapse. Now, the recurring menace of loss of lives, the recurring menace of building collapse in Nigeria, it has given us a grim evidence that it is calling for a legislation. We need to legislate to set a body or to establish an agency that will specifically carry that specific duty of regulating and controlling the use of sustainable standard construction materials in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, this bill simply seeks to ensure compliance with all legislations or regulations, both in importation, sales, production of building materials, so that we can have a monitoring body. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the bill seeks to promote better monitoring modalities, specifically in the use of sustainable standard construction materials. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, please, I do call on all honorable colleagues and urge you to support this bill. It is very important that we establish a body to carry out this responsibility. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so submit.
Put the question. Anybody want to speak again? Oh, okay. Honorable Fulata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa Krika Samaguli Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, while appreciating the passion...
I think Honorable Fulata is opposing your bill and you're not listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, while appreciating the passion with which the leader is presenting this bill, I don't know whether the leader has looked at the functions of Standard Organization of Nigeria.
Functions of who?
The Standard Organization of Nigeria. Standard Organization of Nigeria. Among which, for example, organize tests and do everything necessary to ensure compliance with standards approved by the Council, to undertake investigation as necessary into the quality of facilities, materials, products in Nigeria, and establish quality assurance systems, including certification of factories, products, and laboratories, to ensure reference standards for calibration and verification of measures and measurements in the instruments. So it seems from the debate arguments, this bill is fundamentally in conflict with the provisions of Standard Organization of Nigeria. That's this thing. So I don't know whether...
It's not in conflict. What the best you can say is that it's doing the same work as, not that it's in conflict, okay, but it's doing the same work as the... No, he mentioned materials.
Materials.
Sometimes, you have... I get totally what Fulata is saying. We don't duplicate laws. But sometimes you have situations where in law, and that's why in drafting, you write, notwithstanding the provisions of any other law. That's how you start a drafting. So, in other words, you are trying to emphasize it. But let's hear Honorable Toby. No, but he may be able to persuade other people. That's why there is a debate, need for a debate. Honorable. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of Wajiri Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the bill is born out of experiences in Nigeria. Buildings are collapsing. Even if, for any reason, it is conflicting buildings of Nigerians, ourselves to make sure with that proposal. We now check
whether in all ramifications standard administration is fit for purpose, or we need to retool it to do a much more efficient job. Sometimes, by scope of work, it is fairly unwieldy that they will check the standard of bulbs, standard of shoes, standard of chemicals, standard of everything. A time comes to err, we have a proper scrutiny. So I think we should pass the bill, let it go for pass through second reading for committees to work.
Okay, what you know, what is contained in leaders started to know whether it has gone beyond that omnibus law. Materials for the construction industry in Nigeria and for related matters. So we don't know what those related matters are. Those related matters may not have any, may go beyond what the standard organization is. So we'll just take 2-3 more contributions. We'll take 2-3 more. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jim Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland. Simply because we are talking about the construction industry. And it's all encompassing, notwithstanding what SOL has defined. We also have National Building Code, which can be married and harmonized together, and take a step from this established proposed and then issue on control measure, control mechanism. Because any defect in any construction industry, whether building or civil, can lead to death. And the essence of establishment of this agency is of necessity. It's about life. We have to arrest that situation. So I am in support of what the proposer has brought, that we should just take it a while and ensure that we move on, so that by the time we get to the committee level, we can harmonize all this together, marry it with SON and marry it with National Building Code, so that it can become a perfect law that will deal with the life of the people, with welfare of the people. The essence of any governance is for us to ensure that is done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Defense. Chairman Power. Chairman Power, Chairman Defense.
Honorable Moguru.
I did it deliberately. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marche Monguno, Nganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Well, my argument will be along the line of those who seek to oppose the passage of this bill on the ground that this bill, what this bill seeks to do, the Standard Organization of Nigeria has the jurisdiction to do so. Well, my own argument is that there are situations where in a country or in a society when certain maladministration or certain happenings have become so endemic and goes to affect the very existence or the strata of society. In such instances, there is a need to take drastic measures with a view to preparing drastic solutions to counter the problem. I will give you an example of EFCC, ICPC. Offenses that are now cognizable under the Act of the EFCC and ICPC are offenses that are cognizable under the Police Act. are offenses that the police has the jurisdiction to perform. But because of the fact that corruption has become so endemic in the society, and it has gone to affect the very existence of society, we decided to enact ICPC, EFCC, and what code of conduct, and what have you, with a view to tackling the problem. So, mutatis mutandis, the problem of building collapse in Nigeria has become so endemic that it's affecting lives and properties of individuals in the society, and there is need for us to have a law that will be specifically saddled with the responsibility of handling that aspect. And that is why I support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Solution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoman Kimabonta. Mr. Speaker, I've listened attentively to all the sentiments canvassed. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Latta.
the question to ask is there any lacuna, is there any ills this bill seeks to cure? Any mischief? The answer is yes. A lot of mischiefs. We agree we have standard organization of Nigeria. I am much persuaded by the argument and debate of the last speaker when he talked about corruption and financial crimes and all whatnot. Mr. Speaker, I'll give you an example. We also have NAFDAC that deals with drugs and all whatnot, yet to have NDLA. Why? When drug abuse became the menace to us, they carved out NDLA to also deal with drug-related matters. Otherwise, NAFDAC had control of use of drugs. What he's seeking to do is to extricate that very technical aspect of building and materials and construction different from other areas. I do not think they're in conflict. However, it may be a surplusage. Therefore, I will only say, let this bill go to the committee stage so we can now properly carve out, if we see the need, and define the narrow gate that they will operate on. So we begin no longer to have this. Mr. Speaker, you have police. Police covers all the things that EFCC are doing. Police covers all the things that financial whatever are doing. So are we going to say, let us allow police to do it, knowing that specialization may not be there? And then they decided and said, okay, let police go and be chasing armed robbers and so on. And let those pen robbers and all whatnot be dealt with EFCs and so on. That is what he's trying to say, because Sun had operated for over 20 years. Yet every day, some standard things come in. And we're saying, in the building, in the construction area, material used in construction, not material used in clothes. Standard organization will look at the clothes they are wearing, they look at their shoes, they look at the chemical, they look at the bucket, and all whatnot. But he's saying, only the things worked for construction should be allowed. I'm of the opinion that we should go to the committee stage. We'll be doing Nigeria the service. And he canvassed several reasons for building collapse. Therefore, let us give this bill an opportunity for public hearing so we can gather the better input from experts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Oyejo. I represent the good people of Isukwuato, Omunoji, Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I just want to say something, and that's very simple. There's no law that will pass on the floor of this House that has nothing to do with previous laws and establishment. What we seek to do at every point is to improve on what we have. And most times, what we have today happening was not envisaged when other laws or acts that we are practicing took place, or when those bills passed and became law. The bill is seeking that there should be an establishment for construction only. And of course, we cannot overemphasize the fact that in past few years, few weeks, few months, a lot of buildings have been collapsing. And people are pointing fingers at the level of supervision. And all of us know that as we speak today, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, they are doing their best, but they are maybe overwhelmed. And so our leader here is seeking to bring it to a comfortable position where we'll be able to take responsibility and make sure that construction sites are supervised by participating. Why are people dying? Well, of course, to support this bill, reading is going to the committee of the whole, where all the stakeholders, all Nigerians will be allowed to speak to the merits and demerits of this bill. And as we speak, there is nothing that is affecting anybody. It's not going to affect some negatively or anything. And every time people say, okay, you're creating commissions and you're creating other things, how about funding? But the truth of the matter is that we cannot compromise lives of Nigerians to funds. And so I support that this bill pass through second reading. And Mr. Speaker, Honorable colleagues, I urge my brother, Honorable Folata, not to push this because there's no law that we are passing or will pass in this house that has nothing to do with other laws. I so submit.
Okay, the last contribution and then we move on. Honorable Osai. Chairman, Business and Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai, and I represent Doko Okwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to adopt all those who have spoken in favor of this bill, and most especially the S3 through which the mover of this bill has done by expanding the bill holistically for a better understanding about the direction of the bill. My own take is simple. Experts and ideas are generated from the committee stage. And I expect this bill to go to the committee stage so that expert input can be embedded to it, so that to add more flesh into the bone as it is now. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I'm one of the great honorable members of this chamber that have spent many years, and not just many years, but with experience, and the person of the chief whip, raise critical issues that are germane. And the issue is that those functions that National Assembly deemed fit at a particular point in time, to give out to other, agencies to look in terms of today. This expansion has yielded fruit. Likewise, this bill that is going to yield fruit. And Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I'm in support completely with this bill, and I ask my colleagues to support this bill with the speed of light it requires. I so move.
All right, so we'll just put the question. Honorable Labonta raised an interesting comparison with NAFDAC as well. So it's something we need to look at seriously. We'll put the question, and when it gets to committee level, they can look at it more critically, and their report will determine what we'll do here. So, those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. So, I think this will go to the Committee on Industries and Housing. Second reading, yes, sorry, go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Construction Materials Standardization Agency to standardize and control the use of materials for the construction industry in Nigeria and for related matters. Second reading.
So yeah, this bill is referred to the Committees on Housing and Industries. The third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Horticulture, Okigwe, Imo State, and for related matters, in the name of Honorable Miriam Onocha. Other members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 29 June 2021, and I invite Honorable Onoha to move that the bill be now read a second time. Hey, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ambassador of Disability Rights in Nigeria, my honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I represent the good people of Isi Alamba, No, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. This morning, I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Horticulture in Okigwe local government, Imo State, be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
From Imo State, Honorable Mwauba.
Ambassador of civil societies and disabled women and men in Nigeria. I remain Right Honorable Henry Mwauba, speaking for the enterprising people of Mbitoli-Kedru Federal Constituency of Imo State, and I rise to wholeheartedly support the bill as moved by Princess Miriam Onoha. I so second.
Okay, it's an establishment bill. I'm just going to put the question. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Horticulture, Okigwe, Imo State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions. Commencement of debate of the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnics Act, Cap F17, laws of the Federation 2000 people to Akanu, EBM, Federal Polytechnic, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Chinedu Oga. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 4th March 2020, and I invite Honorable Oga to move that the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, Honorable Comrade Chinedu Oga ON. I represent Ikwe-Azasa Federal Constituency. Change of name of Akanib of Federal Polytechnic Suwana to be changed to Akanib and Federal Polytechnics. I hereby move the motion. It should be read second reading.
Elder Jerry, can you please second? Elder Jerry, why is your mic not working? I don't know why your mic is not working, Elder Jerry. Let's try it.
Mr. Speaker, at last, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I rise to second that bill be moved by Oga that the bill read the second time, Mr. Speaker. I so second.
Anybody want to speak against this upgrade? We'll put the question. Those
Speaker, honorable members, to make provision for a change of name of the Federal Polytechnic Unwana Fipo to Akanibiam Federal Polytechnic Unwana
State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Muda Lawal Umar. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read first time on Thursday, 13th February 2020. I now invite Honorable Umar to move that the bill read a second time. Okay, the last bill, we didn't refer that. Okay, that goes to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Honorable Muda Lawal, please.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, bill for an act to provide for the staff second term. I so move.
Any second?
Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues,
Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members.
The Committee on Health Institutions. The sixth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of. Chairman, let's cool down on these establishment bills. Yeah, that's where we think is absolutely necessary. This is like the fifth one for today. The sixth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill of Honorable Koladele Akinjo. Now read the second time. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise most humbly, Nitekukumi in Ondo State, and for other related matters, be read for the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues. I remain Honorable Dodi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent Honorable Akinjo. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk, please read the long title.
College of Health Technology, Itebu.
Yeah, this matter is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. The seventh order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Federal Technology College. Members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 14 July 2020, and I invite Honorable Abiante to move that the bill be read the second time.
Nombe Dagomie Abiante. I represent Andoni Opobo in Kora Federal Constituency. I am a Rivers man. I rise to move a bill for an act to establish the Federal Technical College, Ikurutown, River State, and for related matters. House Bill 962 be read a second time. I so move.
I'm Taiwo Uluyemi Adewale. I represent the good people of Ibarakwa East Ido Federal Constituency area of Oyo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved, the bill that should be read the second time. The bill that was ably moved by Honorable Abiante. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Patu, your time is off.
With the question? Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal Technical College, Ikurutown, River State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Eighth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the National Executive Flood Management Commission to be saddled with the responsibility of coordinating and regulating all forms of Nigerian dams operations, its drainages, maintenance, to time frame specifications, recommendation to government as deemed necessary to curb and achieve utmost control of. Honourable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 9 July 2021, and I invite Honourable Bande to move that the bill be read a second time. So Honourable Bande here. Honorable Bande is not around.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It seems Honorable Richard Bande is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of the bill be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Order of the day is a motion on rescission on the decision of the ad hoc committee to investigate the financial budgetary provisions, approvals, and multilateral donations, 9 Rule 1 of the standing orders of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited to move the motion. Yes, point of order.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dodi Godwin Elbelu, and I represent the good people of Anocho Shimle Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta. In a motion for an issue to be rescinded. 1, page 47. And I'm not aware that he's the chairman of this ad hoc committee, who probably does not, that had been given to them to discharge this duty. Then 2, he's also asking for rescission of the resolution passed by this House and also bequeathed on the committee to discharge their duty, as coming back again to ask for an extension of time for 14 days. So the question, which of them are we going to rely on? Discharge, rescind our decision on ad hoc committee to embark on this assignment, or asking for an extension of time? In effect, it should not be a rescission. And that is what I think, that it should come properly by way of a motion, and in one way asking for an extension of time.
We are just not asking for extension of time. What we are asking, our rule provides that when a committee is discharged, the functions of that committee will be given to another committee, or, and the alternative, what we are doing now, is that we are reinstating them because they have already given 14 days.
It was already discharged.
Yes, it was discharging them and then allowing them 2 weeks because they have already gotten all the materials with which to produce their report. If you set 13 days.
What specific provision of the rule are you?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
9?
Yeah, rule 16.
Yeah.
Any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session, except upon a substantive motion, its assignment, it is for discharge.
Rule that talks about discharge and an extension of time. There's a rule in that book. JJ.
Thank you very much. The order, Group 916, that we are discussing, I don't think how to either accept or we reject. Therefore, I am putting it, and I'm suggesting that we should put it to vote and take a decision. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Osai.
looking at it, you go to rescission of the 916. Say it shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion. That is one. Two, that it appear in other paper today does not mean it has been gazetted. Gazettation of a motion, Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Yeah, that is just what it is. But on this ground, I think it's coming at a very wrong foundation. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, what is worth doing is worth doing well. Because if you rule today, Mr. Speaker, when you rule today, that protection. Oh, okay, sir. I'm still on my feet.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Coming from that direction, Mr. Speaker, I feel the order of the order. The order now that the issues were not and the proper receiving motions should be brought before this honorable House by next week.
18, that is page 106. Any matter referred to a committee, a motion for extension of time which shall not exceed 15 days, and the matter committed to the committee of the whole or another committee, as the Speaker may decide from time to time.
Yeah.
The most important is that as the Speaker may decide.
Yes, but the problem, you see, I think you caused this problem. That's the provision I was looking for. You came on the 9 Rule 1, which is, I think, the wrong order. We already discharged. He can wherein we discharged. He has nothing to do with the exam. He's asking simply. That's all he's saying. There. Yes, Tony.
I think responsibility was that they had exceeded the number of weeks, because it's a time frame within which they have to act. We cannot be at liberty to now give them another extension of time that is endless, because already they were sending that decision and we are giving them, there must be a time frame. There must be a time
Actually,
frame.
Chairman, rescission can actually be done in this case. I'm not sure if rescission, if you read that, it's automatic that they're discharged. And upon discharge, all you can do now is to ask for an action.
Yeah, state the committee in which to now submit their report. They have done everything, they have finished everything, but their time has expired. What we are doing is to reinstate the committee and then give them 2 weeks within which to submit their report.
The problem is this. You see, that provision that you just read anticipates that you will ask for a letter like now. When were they discharged? No, when did we make that decision of discharge? No. When did we make this decision to discharge them of their responsibility? June? When? 15th May. They were discharged 15th May. Now let me read this provision again. Any matter referred to a committee shall be treated, in other words, you don't even need a motion. By operation of law, they are discharged after 60 days if they don't conclude their assignment. You don't even need to bring a motion to discharge them. And then it says, except upon a motion, that's when you cannot bring a motion, except upon a motion for extension of time, which shall not exceed 15 days. In other words, the only way they cannot be discharged is if at the time they have exceeded their 60 days or just before, you bring a motion for extension. So that operation of law will no longer apply. So since we did not bring that extension at that time, we cannot bring the extension again. You get it? If we cannot, otherwise, it makes nonsense of our rules. That's why I asked you for the date. If you were discharged in May, and we're now in December, And you're now asking for extension or revision for them to now start work again 8 months after, or however many months after.
Mr. Speaker,
We have to make sense of our rules.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not asking for extension at this time.
Huh?
What I'm asking for is a rescission of a decision to discharge them.
So you're not asking for extension. So let's clear that. You're not asking for extension.
Once they are reinstated, then when we vacate our act of discharge.
But the problem with that, we're wrong. We did not make it. We did not make a decision. The decision has already been made by the rules. So what you're asking for is for us to rescind the rules, not our decision. The rules, by operation of law, automatically you are discharged. So how do we rescind? How do we rescind what has been automatically discharged? It was not a decision of this house. This house's hands were tied. You had no choice but to rescind. You didn't even need to bring a motion for discharge. Unless you want to, the general way out, suspend the rules, and then we put the question. It will now depend on the house to make a decision.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think that there's anything wrong with rescinding the decision that we have taken in the past. Secondly,
we did not take a decision.
Secondly,
that's
sir,
what I'm telling you.
Secondly, sir,
the rules took the decision.
This committee was not automatically discharged. There was a motion to that day.
Yeah.
However, sir, when that decision was taken, the conclusion from the chair was that the committees should go and write and submit their report. It stated that they now have all the materials for their report. I think that they can just go ahead in line with the decision and the ruling of the chair. They can go ahead and submit their report.
So let me tell you, let me say this. Assuming that the chair said, go and submit your report, we're talking about May. That statement was not made in perpetuity, that you can bring the report next year. You don't want to set a bad precedent. What stops other committees now that have been discharged a year later and say, well, we now have the materials? That means it can't work like that. It can't work like that. There has to be a sense to everything we do here. And when you interpret your rules, we have to interpret with the intention that was behind those rules. So we can't say that we leave it in perpetuity, you have been discharged, but anytime you bring your materials, whatever, we reinstate you. That cannot be the intention. So I don't know, it's a new development, but the nuances. Honorable Benson, what do you have to say? Honorable Benson.
Honorable colleagues, I remain Baba Jimmy Benson, the Ikorodu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, we've dealt too long on this matter.
It's an important matter. There's nothing like too long.
In my opinion, I think we should step it down and move on to the next issue, sir.
Honorable Sada.
Mr. Speaker, following the dynamics that are being displayed on the floor, and may I appeal to the leadership, at least let them soften on behalf of the chairman, Rules and Businesses, because it seems the chairman, Rules and Business is having some tussles or some difficulties with the leadership on the floor. And for us, the plebeians behind here.
Which leadership?
And my take here is, Mr. Speaker, if we can rely on Order 1, Rule 1, Sub 2, since we don't have these provisions where we found ourselves in this kind of quagmire, if the leadership so approves, maybe the chairman rules and business can come with a motion, then the House can make a resolution so that we can have a procedure that we can get out of this kind of situation. That is just my...
Mr. Speaker, can I come in, sir?
Yes, Honorable Fulata.
Mr. Speaker, I am for the rules. I am for the strict application of the rules. I agree to step this thing down, but henceforth we should go strictly by the rules, sir. On all matters, including suspension of our rules, to take on certain matters, including suspension of our rules.
No, wait. But Honorable Fulata, do you understand the arguments?
Yeah, I understand the argument.
You understand the arguments?
I understand the arguments. I'm on the floor. My minority leader. I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
You cannot interject while I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Yo, I can sit down.
But do you have a point of order? What is the point of
order?
order? What is the point of order? What is the point of order?
Which
You
order?
don't have
What
a
the
point of
order? Which order? Order.
What does it say? Read it. Privilege.
Mr. Speaker, I am a member of this House. And by the grace of God, I'm on this floor to represent my people. And by also the grace of God, we, the 359 members, chose Mr. Speaker to lead us on this floor. And the order, the rule of the House says that at the discretion of Mr. Speaker, on every decision. So it is not for chairman rules and business to decide how the House will regulate itself. It's for him to make his presentation, but not out of anger, make a pronouncement which is wrong. And I'm a member of this House. I can't sit here and allow that happen. That is impinging on my privilege as a member of this House.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the chairman rules and business was only stating the obvious, which is that all our activities must comply with the rules. That's the obvious. I don't think it was a pronouncement. I think everything was, and then if I decide to bend it a little bit, for want of a better word, to suspend it, then that is will be even the decision of the House itself, not even mine. But so we are faced with two choices now. Either the chairman says he wants to step down, or suspend the rules, or we go ahead with this motion and take it as a standalone situation that must never arise again. Just like, you remember the Supreme Court when they were deciding Amechi's case? They said you shouldn't use Amechi's case as a standard for any other case, that it stands on its own or its merit. So we have three choices.
I want to move that this motion be stepped down by the leader of the House as so moved.
Well, I don't know, since it's by the leave of the House, you are asking it by the leave of the House, they might refuse to not step it down and take it. So we'll put the question. Minority Leader, you've already cost.
And I represent the good people of Anyocho Oshimiri Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, first of all, that motion ought not to have been brought before us by the chairman rules of business. The chairman of the ad hoc committee is Honorable Akinjo, and he's seated there. So if he steps it down, Akinjo, that we extend the tenure that they want for them to bring the motion. This is my submission.
Supposed to bring which motion? For extension. But the motion is for rescission, not extension. No, no. He brought a motion for rescission. Whether that motion is right or wrong is not the point. The point is that he has a right to bring a motion for rescission. It was not a motion for extension. Perhaps within that motion for rescission, he now put in extension But the motion itself was for rescission, which is entirely within his jurisdiction. Yeah. Kai. Okay, Honorable Kiru, then Honorable JJ, then Honorable Toby. Yes. Yes, Honorable
Mr.
Kiru.
Speaker, honorable colleagues, I raise this point of order on privilege because minority leader raised points of order on privilege. And if you look at the rules that we'll be struggling with, we are leaving it and stepping down the motion. Let him step this motion down. It is left for us to know what we'll do next. So at this point, we are not preempting what we'll do after stepping down of this motion. It's when this motion is properly stepped down, then we just accept it, and then we go to another business, and he knows how to retool and bring whatever he has to. This is one of, I believe that what we should do the same route.
Submissions, yes.
I stand on Order 8, Rule 13, under the withdrawal of a motion or an amendment may be withdrawn at the request of the mover, or an amendment so withdrawn may be made again, but in case of motion notice is requested. In this case, the mover of this motion under this other paper, Thursday, 2nd December 2021, is Honorable Fulata, and he has so done that. I don't think we need to belabor any issue.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think that was Honorable Lumelu's argument. We'll move on.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Toby Oketu and I represent. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I believe that the duty of young people and this motion deals with an ad hoc committee to investigate the financial, budgetary provisions, approvals, and multilateral donations on skills acquisition, entrepreneurship, empowerment, and other related programs of the federal government and its agencies, pursuant to Order 901. The issue is, what level of service do we want to give to the Nigerian people? This committee and its work on their work, Mr. Speaker, there could be four. If, under the necessary provisions of the rules, to say, let it be on standby while we take decisions that address the issues related to the Nigerian people. I think we should look at the spirit of this motion and the substantial justice and service it does to the Nigerian people. I am pleading with this House that we amend this motion. And my amendment is that we delete. He has not. He said leave of the House. We have not given him that leave. We have not given him that leave. We must have to take it.
Yes, Honorable Toby.
Sir.
Wait, no. You are trying to play the maverick here. You know, you went this way, and now you are coming this way.
Not like Azaure.
No, and I think that might be a little. I detect a little shape here. You know, because now that we've found out that Honorable Victor was the.
You have not allowed.
No. And Honorable Victor is my person. So I think you have now changed your position because it's Honorable Victor. You just found out now that it's Honorable Victor, your party member. And I understand that. And quite honestly, Honorable Victor is my person. But we must also look at the House as an institution.
Yes.
What I said earlier on was that we don't want to open the floodgates and allow this to happen and then stop others. We will have no justification to stop others once we set a precedent. So I think we should do things properly, irrespective of who is involved. And more importantly, you can't cry more than the bereaved. The man says he wants to withdraw, so you said no. You said no. Yeah, don't worry. You've made a spirited effort on behalf of Honorable Victor, and I'm sure he appreciates it. So,
can I finally drop my point?
No, because I know where you're going. Don't worry.
Mr. Speaker, I've already moved the motion.
I don't even think there's a need to put a question.
I've withdrawn the motion.
Yeah, okay. So, motion step down. That's over an hour, but it's good. On call to investigate the high level of corruption on nominal roles of ministries, departments, and agencies in the country, standing in the name of Honorable Musa Bagos. Honorable Bagos is invited to move the motion. Honorable Bagos, I'm assuming that this is a motion from the revelation of ICPC in the last couple of days. Is that what this is about? About nominal role? Okay, go ahead, move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Dachu Musa Bagos, representing the good great people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency. I'm from the peaceful state of Plateau. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes the reports of high-level corruption being perpetrated in ministries, departments, and agencies in the country. Aware that President Muhammadu Buhari, on the 30th of November 2022, ordered the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, to take actions against heads of ministries, departments, and agencies and other personnel involved in project racketeering, budget and payroll padding, as well as ghost workers. Also stated that the review of the 2021 budget led to the discovery of 257 duplicated projects with a combined worth of 20.138 billion. Highest list being the issue of payroll padding and ghost workers retention. Also concerned that these corrupt practices have diverted the country's revenue meant to be channeled into economic development and capital projects. Appreciates the efforts of the administration to curb or eradicate corruption in the country. The House resolves to mandate the Committee on Anti-Corruption to investigate the issues of nominal roles, payroll padding, and fake employment in all ministries and MDAs in the country and report back to the House within a week for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Before secondment, I'm going to let somebody second first now. Honorable Maki. Okay, no, okay, second, and then we'll take your.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I'm Abubakar Maki. I saw second. Thank you, sir.
After that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Magajida Oaliu, member of the Brunoko constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. I rise to move this amendment to mandate all standing committees of the House to investigate the issues of nominal roles, federal padding, fake employment in all ministries of NDS in the country and report back within 4 weeks. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is too much of a work for committee on anti-corruption. And it all involve us, and we have standing committees, so we just carry on and do this as the House blesses.
But in 4 weeks, we'll be on recess, Christmas.
This one will have a good report to submit when we come back in the new year.
How many committees are we talking about?
All committees that supervise the ministries, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Committee of
The
Works.
ministries. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any
Thank
second?
you. This was
Honorable Hallings.
and all other things as amended and by Honorable.
What, did we ask for 8 weeks?
8 weeks, yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hold on a second. I don't even know if the 8 weeks is enough. Because once we go on Christmas or New Year, I don't think we're resuming until mid-January. So which will leave them with only maybe 2 weeks. I think 8 weeks will even be short, because it's going to be a lot of work. On the motion, okay, Honorable Maki, and then I think Honorable Elumelu has an amendment and observation too. Yeah. What's your observation?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Maki Abubakar Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Maramuru Kaugama Federal Constitution. Mr. Speaker, my observation is that we are talking of nominal role. And I think the whole MDS, almost 99% of them, they are into IPPIS. So I don't want us to start duplicating work, checking the nominal roles of this while we have other activities on our standing committees, more than the nominal role. They are all consolidated in one account, IPPIS in the Accountant General Office. So what are you investigating on the nominal roles? So that's my observation, sir. Yes, there is none. There is none. Yes, I agree. I've seconded, but I have to make my own observations. So, but it is very important for us to look at this issue of nominal role, because we are trying to create, our own responsibilities. We are yet to finish them. We are trying to add more responsibilities also on nominal role. I think we should look for something else, not nominal role, sir. Because already this administration, they came up with an issue of taking, or even the universities, that's why always they are stating on this strike and what have you. They are all in IPPIS, nominal role issue. Please.
Well, the nominal role is very important based on the charges, accusations, or whatever from ICPC. The nominal role, because we're talking about wastages and corruption. So somebody needs to investigate the nominal roles.
They have nothing to tell you. They have nothing to tell you about the nominal role. Because they were paid. They are paid. They are paid. They cannot even employ.
You see, you as a committee, or even if it's one committee, or as a committee, you have the power to subpoena records under the Constitution. So I think that is, they don't even have to tell you anything. You don't even need them. You don't even need them. All you have to do is subpoena the records and compare the records with what do a comparison. You don't even need any verbal, if you want to avoid it, just subpoena the records. The records speak for themselves. So, are we putting this question as to 10 weeks? This amendment, we have to dispose of this amendment first. The Honorable Beck goes against the same name. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndodi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I will amend the one that we have just passed by including a provision. If you look at the body of the motion, Bagos said, also aware that the chairman of ICPC also stated that in the review of the 2021 budget led to the discovery of 257 duplicated projects. That is capital. The other one is nominal road. So I'm not saying that if we have, based on the fact that we have carried his amendment, we should now alter the that in the review of the 2021 budget led to the discovery of 257 duplicated projects with a combined worth of 20.138 billion. So they are not going to do the issue of nominal role alone. They are also going to all the standing committees should look at those projects that ICPC claimed. It is important that we find out whether CPC was telling lies or they, in a fact, they were true to the fact that there were duplication of projects. So let the standing committees check all their capital projects and find out. And Mr. Speaker, let me also add, apart from capital, Mr. Speaker, they should go beyond that and review the overhead. You know why? Even ICPC themselves, they have provision for telephone bills. Did they actually advertise for a service provider to provide them with telephone bills, or even if you recharge card, they ought to have advertised as provided by the law. If they did not do that, they have disobeyed the law. So the committees should be able to find out all these things.
Yeah.
There are provisions like maintenance of generator, maintenance of this. For you to do that, even if it's under overhead, our committees must find out that they bidded. People bidded to do that.
You know, the allegations of the ICPC based on 2021 budget,
yes,
which we passed. So you're asking the committees to do what they should have done.
Well, because the ICPC man.
You do realize that this is an indictment on our committees.
No, it is not an indictment, Mr.
No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
If the statement
yes.
is true, our people have done it.
Honorable, let me look what happens to the budget.
Yes.
That means that our committees did not do their work thoroughly. If it is true. Where I'm going with that is that I'm not actually sure that these projects and this duplication should be done by the committees who dropped the ball and neglected to do it in the first place. Okay. I think this should be done by an ad hoc committee.
So be it. Okay, I amend it.
As opposed to individual committees.
I amend it.
That's my own thinking.
So that prayer stays. My second prayer, I'm adding a second prayer. Second prayer is a sort of an ad hoc committee to investigate the allegation of the chairman of ICPC as to the effect that in the review of their 2021 budget as passed and assented to by Mr. President, that they've 8 billion. I so move.
And that shouldn't even take anything, because all ICPC needs to do is to just present them with the duplication and then they check.
Yes, I'll report back to the House within 8 weeks.
No.
Or 10 weeks. 10 weeks.
No. On that one of budget duplication.
Yes.
That can be done within a week. All ICPC needs to do is to provide evidence. And then the ad hoc committee looks at it vis-a-vis, what was passed, and bring the report to the House.
So we'll say 2 weeks?
Before we close 14th.
Okay, before?
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, yeah. I so move.
Honorable Sai.
Good motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I rise to second the motion, heavily moved by the powerful minority leader. I so second.
Delta, PDP. It offends morality. Okay, so Honorable Elmalu's motion to set up an ad hoc committee to look into the duplicated budgets of 2021. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. You have an amendment too? And Honorable Benson too had an amendment, yes. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Toby Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Wojiri Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is that the committee assembled should investigate the level of approvals or waivers for employment for the past 2 years that have been given by the head of service since the policy on or since the ban on employment. We want to find out, they should investigate the approvals so far given and to which agencies such approvals have been given for the past 2 years. I so move.
I didn't even follow the amendment because you distracted me, ICPC. What was your amendment? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We know you are a very, very polite and good speaker. You were mildly protesting that you were being distracted. But my amendment is mindful of the fact that there has been a ban on employment for the past 2 years, and prior to any employment, the head of service gives approval for agencies and MDS we want the committee to ensure transparency and investigate the level of approvals that have been granted agencies, the employment that have been done for the past 2 years, and it's 2 years. Okay, for the past 5 years that have been granted, since there isn't any general application to this, where such employment has been granted. I so move.
Any second? Honorable Naramba.
My highly respected colleagues, Abubakar Hassan Nala is my name. I represent the good people of Awejo Makana Federal Constituency, and I'm from Nasarawa State, the state of solid minerals. I rise to second the motion, the amendment ably moved by Honorable Toby. I so second.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order.
Honorable Mansour.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Mansour Manu Soro, that is the Gandhia Federal Constituency. I am from Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, permit me to commend the mover of this motion, my brother, Honorable Bagos, as well as the amendment that was taken as proposed by Honorable Magajidau. Mr. Speaker, I don't think it will be practicable for all the standing committees to be bringing recommendations in the case of this investigation. We are talking about high level of corruption. And by the time that we ask all the standing committees to investigate this and be bringing in reports or recommendations for implementation before the House, that will be bogus. So I want to amend the amendment put by Honorable Da'u, that we should allow the committee whose purview falls under the IFFIS or the Public Service Matters. I don't know which committee oversight the IFFIS, as well as the Anti-Corruption Committee of the House, to undertake this investigation. By so doing, we are going to have a coordinated outcome that will be viable for implementation by both the legislative arm and the executive arms of the government. This is my amendment, Mr. Speaker.
So I'm thinking what you are bringing is a counter amendment or almost a rescission now. No. He's just no. What he's saying makes a lot of sense. Rather than have 100 and something committees be investigating nominal role, why not just let the lead committee because the issue of nominal role is an anti-corruption matter. Why not just let anti-corruption investigate it? That is what he's saying.
Yes, sir. As well
rather than have 100 and something.
As well as the committee that oversight the IP committees, Mr. Speaker, I think are sufficient to handle this.
So in effect, we are asking that we receive our earlier amendment. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Why not? Wait a minute. This matter is an anti-corruption matter. Correct? It's an anti-corruption matter. Nominal issue of nominal role, duplication or multiple, whatever it is anti-corruption. So what Honorable Mansour is saying that rather than have 100 and something committees asking for nominal role up and down the place and whatever, and asking for different reports from that means we're asking for 100 and something reports. That what he's saying is that why don't we just centralize it and allow the committee that is charged with the responsibility of corruption and anti-corruption to investigate the matter and report to the House. In which case, we wouldn't even be looking at the 10 weeks and all of those things that you're saying. You're streamlining the even Honorable Dow that I brought the motion, I can see him nodding in agreement. He realized that this is true. No. The only person that can second it, is Honorable Dow. It's only person that can second it is Honorable Magadi. Okay, all right. So we'll put the question again. It's clear. What's the observation? What's the observation?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My observation is to the effect that if it has to do with nominal role, Maki had made a submission investigating these abnormalities as it relates to this nominal role is the Auditor General. And that falls within the purview of public accounts. But we can add public account and ICPC to do the job as it relates to that nominal role, while the one we had passed on the issue of setting up other committee stays.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but public accounts cannot step in until we get the report of the Auditor General.
No, they still investigate, sir.
No, it is upon public accounts acts on the report of the Auditor General. No, he doesn't preempt the report of the Auditor General.
No, public account, check their mandate, sir.
Yeah.
It includes Auditor General.
I know it includes Auditor.
Yes.
Okay. Check it and read it for me. Maybe you're right.
Where's my desk?
What's your man? Whilst we wait for Honorable Elumelu. Quickly. We're about to suspend sitting today. Hold on.
Page 1 to 4. Page 1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Within the ambit and circumference of the Constitution, which is grown up on Section 88 and 89 of the Constitution. And 88 says, two, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Section 89 also gives them power to summon any persons in order to extract any reasonable findings or facts within the ambit and circumference upon which they oversight. So, Mr. Speaker, the exposure of corruptions of any issues in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that's what the Constitution envisages in your Section 6062, that the House of Rep shall set up committees among themselves to investigate these issues of corruption. So it does not lie on only one committee to investigate corruptions. It lies, and Mr. Speaker, ministries upon ministries for the past years have been employing. So it lies on this committee to do their oversight, go back and do the finding and report back within 10 weeks as proposed. I think that is the better line of thought, except you lost faith on all committees. Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
Page 124, Committee on Public Account. But I'll go to order 6. No, order. He shall have the power to examine any account or report of statutory corporations and boards after they shall have been laid on the table of the House and to report back. You are right.
Thank you. Honorable Osai, let me dispose of your point of order. Read Section 88, which you copiously referred to. Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. The large hearts. It says Section 88, 1 and 2. Is subject to the provision of this Constitution, each House of the National Assembly shall have power by resolution, published in its journal and the Gazette of the Government of the Federation, or direct or cause to be directed an investigation into any matter or things with respect to which it has power to make laws. And B, conduct of affair of any person, authority, ministries, or government department charged or intended to be charged with the duty of or responsibility for executing or
I think
administering.
that's enough. But I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about 88.1. It tells you that the.
I want to go to the two. The two solidify that.
No, what the relevant portion is 88.1. The House shall have the power to conduct investigation. Does not refer to committees. Does not refer to anybody. Just says the House. And we are at liberty to conduct investigations however we want to conduct investigations. It is the reason, Honorable Osai, why we have, if we're going to look at your argument that it is only the standing committees that can investigate, wait a minute, that it is only the standing committees that can investigate a matter, because it means that we do not have confidence in them if we don't do that. Then the question is, there are two things here. Why do we have ad hoc committees? Then there will be no need for ad hoc committees. Just wait a minute. We have ad hoc committees when there are standing committees who can do the job. But if we find that maybe a standing committee is conflicted, or if a standing committee is not carrying out the job efficiently, or for whatever reason, even for good reason, we can decide to set up an ad hoc committee. We had the petroleum industry bill that was conducted by an ad hoc committee when we had committees on petroleum, committees on gas, but we set up an ad hoc committee. So your point actually does not hold water in any way, shape, or form. And therefore, you are ruled out of order.
It does. I could have.
Yeah.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I remain Abubakar of capital project repetition by the MDAs. Even today in the Sunshine channels, it has been stated by one of the officials of ICPC, where he's quoting 257 MDAs was 30 billion naira repetition of the funds. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, if you may recall vividly, around June, July, Mr. Speaker, this House has set an ad hoc committee, saying that the committee need to investigate capital project executed and fund releases in Appropriation Act from 2015 till date. So, Mr. Speaker, I think by this leakage from the ICPC, even anybody who watches channels today, it is on air. Mr. Speaker, I think this House may also mandate that ad hoc committee to liaise with the ICPC to get those information. It will guide the ad hoc committee so that we can stop. Yes, there is no need for us also to create another ad hoc committee. Already there is an ad hoc committee investigating capital project repeated. Yes.
What was the mandate of the committee?
The mandate is need to investigate capital project executed and fund released in Appropriation Act from 2015 till date.
That's not the same thing as we're talking about.
What is the difference? Sir,
this is duplication.
No, yeah, it's the same thing, sir.
No, it's
repeating capital project.
When was the ad hoc committee set up?
Sir?
When was the ad hoc committee set up?
I'm coming.
When was the ad hoc committee set up?
Around June, July, sir.
So by virtue of our rules, you are already discharged.
No, it's because, no, sir. It's because of this, it's because, listen.
By virtue of, do you want me to read the rules? Do you want me to read the rules?
No,
have you submitted your report?
This is the rules, sir. Because of this appropriation, that was why even the committee suspend sitting.
Because of?
The appropriation, the budget. Because all the standing committees are busy with the MDAs.
No, if the ad hoc committee was set up in June, you had 30 days.
Yes, we left for break, sir. And you stated here in the floor that nobody, no any ad hoc committee or standing committee will come on MDAs during that time. I could recall that. Yes, it is here. Yeah.
That what?
That during the break, no any ad hoc committee.
Okay, yeah.
Or any standing committee.
Yeah.
To come to the National Assembly.
But we resumed in September.
Yes, that's what we are saying. So from September, sir, that's when we started to work.
But you had 30 days from September.
The 30 days? No, sir. There are a lot of breaks in between. We try to abide by the rules of the standing this thing in the House.
When are you going to submit your report?
By end of this month, sir.
End of December?
Yes.
We'll be on break now.
Sir?
We'll be on break.
That is what I'm still saying.
So January?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
January.
Mr. Speaker.
When we resume in January.
The point is, we are talking of reputation.
Your chairman wants to support you.
But let me shed more light to my honorable colleagues. Sir, the issue is ERGP, reputation of ERGP, that's the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. Those are the areas even the ICPC man is highlighting. Today, they have shown it 257 MDS, worth of 30 billion.
You know what we'll do? You know what we'll do, Honorable Maki?
Okay.
You liaise with the chairman business. Chairman business and rules.
Yes.
Yes, chairman business and rules. You liaise with Honorable Maki.
Yes, sir.
Your ad hoc committee must have flowed from a motion and a resolution of this house.
Yes, sir.
So the clerk will provide us with that motion and resolution,
Yes,
the
sir.
prayers,
Yes, sir.
to know whether or not that motion and the resolution is in tandem, which I don't think it is,
Yes, sir.
with what we're doing today.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because we are on break.
Wait, Honorable Maki, wait now.
Okay.
She moved the motion. What did your motion say?
Should, before we pass the budget, provide report. He's even trying to open the back of to have submitted a report which will enable appropriation to know. You remember, sir, that part of it was that if in the event that some MDAs got money and they did not spend that money with one of the agencies that was reported, that if it is true, we should starve that agency of funds during this appropriation. So they ought to have submitted their report for us to consider to enable.
What's your point of order? I see that Honorable Jimmy just said something to you. What's your point of order?
My leader was saying that
the hand of Jacob, the unseen hand.
Excuse me. Order of privilege.
Oh, you didn't give him the order. What's the order?
Sir, the point of order of privilege. As you
Okay,
normally
privilege.
start on it.
Privilege.
Yes.
Privilege.
Mr. Speaker, with due respect to my leader, he didn't move that motion. Right Honorable Yusuf Adamu Gadi moved that motion when you said an ad hoc committee. And everybody is aware. The clerk and is a member of that ad hoc committee. And we try to see that we are learning, sir. Because we try to see we abide by the rules.
Yeah, records will not lie. That's why I said we'll know who moved the motion.
Yes.
We'll know what the contents were.
Yes, sir.
We'll know what the prayers were. But I know that the motion was on releases and expenditure. This one is actually on fraud. It appears duplication of projects. They're two totally different things. But let us to be on the safe side. We'll wait till Tuesday before we announce any ad hoc committee. Let's liaise and make sure that it's not the same thing. But in the issue of the nominal role we haven't put the question from Honorable Mansour yet. Okay, Honorable Victor, second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kolade Via Kinjo is my name, and I represent the good people of Ilajesel, the federal constituency. I stand to second the amendment ably moved by Honorable Maso.
And that amendment is what? For public service and anti-corruption?
Yes, it's to allow the committee on anti-corruption vis-a-vis public service two committees led by anti-corruption. Yes.
Okay.
To investigate the alleged infractions with the nominal role.
The payroll.
For administrative efficiency.
All right. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, just for guidance sake, I'm coming under Order 18, 3G. Limitation as to time of reports.
Yes, I saw that earlier.
We cannot give a committee more than 30 days.
Yeah.
Just for the guidance.
Yeah, that rule limits the time. So what they can do is, just before the time, you bring an extension for obvious reasons. We're on break and all of that. So, having said that, the time limit will be 30 days, and then the committee can or the two committees can bring their extension just before. In fact, they can bring the extension even now because within the next 2 weeks, because by the time 30 days is here, we won't be here. So in anticipation of the 30 days expiring, they can bring the extension in another week or so. That because we'll be away on break, they want to extend it to, that's the best way to go. So on the issue of nominal roles, then on the issue of the duplication of projects, we wait till Tuesday. Honorable Maki? We wait till Tuesday to find out if it's the same thing, and then before we release the name of the ad hoc committee. Okay. Okay, those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Guys have it. We're going to suspend everything else. So, is there anybody here that has any matter that's important on the other paper? Honorable, we'll only take Honorable Ogene and Honorable Victor, since Honorable Victor's rescission suffered some problems today. No, you only wait till Tuesday, or sorry. Yeah, a big boy, you wait till Tuesday. Honorable, what number is your motion, Honorable Ogene? I've decided not to. Number, under my inherent powers. What did you say? You cannot jump 13 to 15. No, I can jump it. I can jump it.
Mr. Speaker, you have 14 before 15.
Honorable colleagues, ordinarily, if the Deputy Speaker was here, I would have had him come and take over, but I have very, very urgent state matters to attend to. And that is why I could have even called for adjournment now, but that's why I said we'll just take one or two, yes. Otherwise, the Deputy Speaker would have come to finish the job. So. Honorable colleagues, Chairman of Business, please move for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before adjournment, I move that we suspend all other items that have not been considered in the order paper. I so move.
Since we cannot agree on which one, yeah. Move your motion for adjournment. Suspension of your yeah.
Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do adjourn to Tuesday next week. I so move.
And those of you who have motions who are of the that elongated to this city, talk to your leaders, Honorable Toby and Honorable Elumelu. Honorable Naraves, please. I can envisage some people staying back. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say nay. Honorable Alims, you must sit in these chambers. Honorable Alims, you will stay back. The ayes have it. I have to go. That's the problem.